Welcome to the bonus episode of the Icebreakers podcast. I'm Matt Eber, sat alongside the very cool and casual after show party. Frankie Seaman, how are you?
This feels like a party. That was a great show. It got me in party mood. I literally loved it. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I cannot stand a dicky bow or whatever these are called. Bow ties, as we call them in the States.
Did it get stuck in your throat?
No, it's just a little bit stuffy. But I'm super excited for this bonus episode because this week we sat down with Amy Hart at home. And I was so surprised how much of a super fan she is of Dancing on Ice.
It's incredible how much she knows about the show. She knows more about the show than we do.
And not only that, just about her sort of life after reality TV, because as we know, she's the queen of reality television and how she's dealt with, especially the trolls, how to come back at those trolls. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview and stick around because afterwards, we are going to be going through some of your questions.
First off, Amy, thank you so much for joining us on this.
Thank you for having me. Obviously, you know I'm a massive Dancing on Ice fan because the first time I met both of you, actually, I just fangirled you in public.
I mean, we've seen you backstage at Dancing on Ice so many times, and I know that you've always been a massive fan of the show, and it is so great to have you. In fact, I don't feel like we gave you a proper introduction, and I'm just going to steam right in there and say that today on the Icebreakers podcast, we are absolutely thrilled to have the queen of reality TV, the absolutely gorgeous Amy Hart. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
You said queen of reality TV. I thought the GC was coming on.
No, babe, you surpassed her quite a few years ago.
She's the Duchess.
She is. I love her. Yes, how are you guys?
We're
very well, thank you.
We were saying that we were so excited to have you on today because we normally talk about ice skating, and as you know, Matt and I are just like the resident expert ice skaters, Of course we are, but it gets a bit boring after a while. And what we're really interested to do is to get your take on how a popularity contest works, because you know, when all said and done, Dancing on Ice, 50% of that is public vote. And how do you kind of see that playing out, and how do the people that are on that show play that game and make sure that they win?
I mean, you would think that that was the case, but when you look at people like Ekin Su, like I think she's got over 3 million followers. So like when she did the show, she had the most followers out of anyone. So I think
probably ever.
Yeah, I think the audiences now are looking at obviously who they like, and you know, like I watch Coronation Street, so I support Ryan, or you know, I love the Olympics, so I support Greg, or you know, I love musical theatre, so I support Amber. But as well, they are looking at the technical skating, because we all think we're like, you know, what series is this of Dancing on Ice?
16.
So we all think we're experts now. Like we think that we know all about skating.
You are armchair experts, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's true though. I think it's the evolution of the audience, right? Like you said, the series has been around for 16 years now, really.
Yeah.
And if we go back, we spoke about this with Denise last week, going back to series 1 and seeing like Gaynor Faye, Bonnie Langford, Duncan James, and like what they were able to achieve on that first series is incomparable to what the celebrities do on week 1 of where we are now, series 16, right? So I think you're absolutely right. I think the audience has really learned skating. And they understand now what looks good and what doesn't look good, you know, who's good, who's not good. So I think that's a really good observation.
Yeah. Just before COVID, no, it must have been after COVID. After COVID, I did Celebs Go Skating with Alex Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was at Queen's, and they were like, oh, do you want to have some skating lessons? We'd love to give you some skating lessons. So I was like, yeah, amazing. I love Dancing on Ice. Obviously, I'll come and do it. So once I sort of got my feet, I was, you know, like skating around so fast. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going this fast. Oh my God, I feel like I'm going to fall over because I'm skating so fast. And then I watched the videos back, and I was like a snail going around the rink. So I was like, I cannot imagine how fast it must feel when like speed skating, or when they look like they're just skating at a normal pace, that must feel so fast.
I think we've just found our headline act for the cast of 2024. Amy Hart, let's get you on Dancing on Ice.
No, I couldn't even do a lemming. Is that what it's called?
But
Lemon.
after, after 10 weeks of training, you know a lot of ice skaters now. Have you ever auditioned for the show before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. Well,
no.
We know people.
Because the year that I came off Love Island, obviously Maura did it, and then they always pick a Love Islander from that year.
Yeah.
But I'm more than an enthusiastic spectator.
Well,
I have to say though, Oh, go ahead, Franks.
I think Amber has broken that mold though this year, obviously. So she wasn't on last year's Love Island, was she?
No, she was on. But she's a West End star.
That's true. So
I've only done Panto once. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit different. I was actually with Cheryl Baker at the weekend, so we were talking a little bit about Dancing on Ice.
Oh, amazing. Now, where did your love for the show come from? Because I have to say, you are the all-knowing oracle of Dancing on Ice. The conversations that you and I have had, Amy, like either at your house or when we were in New York or anywhere over the world, you and I have met up. The stuff the stuff that's in your brain is priceless.
I know. I'm just a bit weird. I could have been like a lawyer or a doctor or like a scientist, but instead my brain is just full of like reality TV moments. But I loved it. It was like my childhood, if you think, because there was the gap in the middle, wasn't there? So what year was the first series? So I don't know.
2006.
2006. So I would have been 14. 14.
Okay. Perfect age.
So like, or maybe younger, maybe 12. Yeah, 14, 12. Yeah, I was like young. So it was like that like Saturday, Sunday night viewing type thing that I loved. And then when it came back, it was like me and my mum's thing to watch. And if I was flying and I was away, then like she wouldn't watch it. She'd wait till I got home to watch it together. And yeah, I just loved it. I don't know, I just love the sparkles. I just love the sparkles. I just love the celebs. I love Karen.
The glamour.
She's my fave. Yeah.
And I think everybody's got that thing with Dancing on Ice as well, because like you said, it looks so easy. But anybody that's tried ice skating at all knows how hard it is. So I think people do have that appreciation of it's not quite like Strictly or quite like the singing shows, because, you know, naturally people are scared of the ice anyway. And then when you go on there, you realise even like how much harder it is than you thought it was. So I think people do now, as you said, the audience are becoming more educated. And I think people do now really appreciate that journey that people go on. And that's why I think you'd be perfect, because, you know, you self-confess that you weren't as great as you thought you were going to be. But it's nice to see those journeys, especially from boot camp to where we are now, even though we've just seen week 2. It's just really nice to see how much progression some people have really made. Leaps and bounds.
Was that everyone always talks about Todd Carty? And I was like, Todd Carty's definitely better than me. So let's not slay him off. All right.
Brilliant.
I do not believe that.
I don't believe that for a second. Absolutely not. So we'll get to your predictions for this forthcoming series, because again, like I said, you understand the show as its number one fan. But a lot of what Frankie and I want to do with these bonus episodes is kind of go into life after reality, because both Frankie and I have sort of lived our adult lives on reality TV. Seeing the success that you had from Love Island, and we know there's been controversy with the show previously with aftercare, and now things are set in place with the network that, you know, help people sort of transition out of reality back into reality. You're a flight attendant, go on a huge show like Love Island, your profile explodes, right? And it exploded when you were in the villa. So it's not like it sort of happened in front of your face, right? It wasn't until after you came out of the villa that you then realized, oh my God, everybody and their brother knows who I am. How was that transition back into reality for you?
Like for me, the aftercare was absolutely amazing. Like I can't fault it. I literally had therapy for ages, and it wasn't really with stuff that happened in the villa. It was to support me with like sort of my new life, but also correcting stuff from like before Love Island, which was amazing. And I feel like I'm like a completely different person now. But when you leave, so you get put into like a little holding villa, and like the producers come and see you, the press people come and see you, and just sort of give you like a little rundown. It's really like I'm nosy like by design, and I want when people Sam's the worst one, my boyfriend, he gives like a vague story. And I'm like, okay, but who was it, and where were they, and what did they say? What did they exactly say? Have you got the text that I can read? Like, so the press people sit you down, and they're like, okay, so you were leaked, like it was leaked that you were going in, and then obviously you went and you gave your phone in. Then when the lineup was announced, this was, you know, people said this about you, and it was literally like line by line, like the whole time I was in there. I loved that. I was like, I feel like and like, you know, one day we're on the train, like my mum's phone, and I wanted to go back and look at the family group chat because I'd left just before I went in. So I wanted to I wanted to read the whole family group chat while I was away because I'm so nosy. So then like the site comes to see you, and when we got in the car to go to the airport, my chaperone said, you know, if you don't want to have pictures with people, I can tell them you're not allowed. And I was like, I mean, it's not really going to be an issue, is it? And she was like, I mean, it might be. And I was like, no, it won't be. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, I was like thinking, I literally left like on the telly like last night. All these people are getting up really early for their flights home from holiday. They're not going to have seen it. And I got in to the airport, and there was the EasyJet queue and the BA queue. And everyone was just like, oh my God, that's Amy. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it just went crazy. And then my best friend, Rhiannon, who you know, Matt, you've met her before, she was on my flight home by pure coincidence. So she like literally she got called out of airport standby to go on the Palmer, but obviously Palmer doesn't sound like Love Island. And she was sat in the back galley, and a girl in the back row was voice noting saying, you know, oh yeah, she only left the villa last night and she's on my flight home. And she like through the curtain and she was like, what did you just say? And she's like, Amy Hart from Love Island's at the front of the plane. So Rhiannon, you know that bit in Sully where he's pushing people out the way? That was like Rhiannon
Yeah.
trying to get down to the front. But what I was going to say about that was when I was in the airport, people kept shouting things at me. And I was like, just like lads, and I was like, I don't really understand, like, I don't know what these people are shouting. And I went down the back galley half through the flight, and she said, oh, here she is, my little cat Slater. And I was like, what? And she was like, I was coming back here to tell you I loved you. And I was like, oh, someone said that to me in the airport. And she was like, yeah, it's a thing. And I was like, who said it? And she was like, you did. I was like, I don't remember that, but okay. And I got out, and obviously, so your actual perception of what's happened in the villa is so different because obviously you're talking you're talking all day, and you don't realise the bits that get picked up.
Yeah.
So you're coming home, and like I got back to the airport, and like, you know, there was like 40 paparazzi there. There was all my friends and family there. You think, oh, I'm just going to go home and then sort of my career starts tomorrow. But I got to the airport, and my agent was like, you've got an interview with The Sun, so you're going to get in a car now and go to London. So I was like, okay, cool. And we pulled back into my home driveway. My best friend was in the car with me, and I said, I can't wait to just get in my own bed and go to bed. And she went, oh, okay. And I was like, I went in like a blacked out car. We pulled up outside my mum and dad's house, and there's like 45 of my friends and family on the front driveway with like banners and stuff, filming for After Sun. And then people just wouldn't leave, and I was so tired. And again, like, you don't realise how much your life's changed in that it got to like 11 o'clock and I hadn't eaten. And I said to Hannah, I really want to get a McDonald's. Should we go to the drive-through? She's like, yeah, okay. So I went out, I put my hand on the handle of my car door, and a security guard that was in a car outside my house jumped up and was like, where are you going? I was like, oh, I'm going to go to McDonald's. And he was like, okay, I'll take you. And I was like, no, I want to drive. I haven't driven for like 6 weeks. I want to drive. And he's like, no, you're not allowed. Like, I need to drive you everywhere. And I had security for a week. You normally get it for like 2 or 3 days, or till you've been on After Sun. But I had it for a week because like the next day I did my first photo shoot. Again, I was like, I turned up to this OK magazine photo shoot, and this isn't the question you asked me. I'm really sorry, but I just like, I love telling this story.
No, it's super interesting.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
So basically, The Sun and OK both wanted to do the first interview, so it was agreed that The Sun would do the first exclusive interview, and then the OK would do the first magazine interview. So the next day I went to OK magazine, and obviously I've been buying OK magazine like my whole life, so I couldn't believe it. And I got there, and there was Jeff Mehmet, the stylist that I've obviously watched on all Billy and Sam's programs throughout the years.
Mm.
And then there's Marcos, who I knew was Danny Dyer's makeup artist. So I literally got there and I saw on the call sheet their names were on it. So I literally was like, and I literally walked in and they were like, hi. And I was like, hi, it's really nice to meet you. I never thought I'd get to meet you. So I just want to say, like, I love you both. And they were like, what? And I was like, I watched the Mummy Diaries and obviously you're Danny's makeup artist, aren't you? And they were like, okay, I didn't expect this to happen, but cool. And Marcos made me cut my hair that day. We were talking, so he did my makeup yesterday and we were talking about, he came up to me and said, darling, can you do something for me? And I was like, yeah, what do you want me to tag? And he was like, no, can you cut your hair off, please? He's like, it's
Oh
just
my God.
very brassy. It's very brassy. He was like, you're a new woman. You went in to go cut a woman. I think we need to cut your hair and debut it on After Sun on Sunday. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
But yeah, so then you're on sort of, I think 46 interviews in 2 weeks. I was sleeping
Wow.
on sofas in ITV. So it would be in between appointments. And because as well as all the interviews, you've also got the aftercare. So you have like ITV arranged for you to meet with a financial advisor. You meet with like different teams of people you meet with, and like people that advise you on like how to best protect yourself on social media, like how to block comments, how to block people, because like some people might come out and not even know how to block people or whatever. So I was literally in between appointments. Charlie would be like, there's a sofa around that corner, go and sleep on it. And she'd be on her laptop replying to 2,500 emails a day. And yeah, so it was just mad. And then I had a day off. So it was like, I did these 46 interviews and it was like, okay, you've got Saturday off. And I was like, oh, amazing. And they got this email, do you want to come to Kistry on the Commons? I was like, oh, wow, I've never been invited to an event before.
Obviously.
Yeah, like, not my kind of music. I'm more of a West End live gal. But like, you know, oh yeah, of course I'll come. Amazing. So we went and I literally did pictures with people for like 8 hours. And on the way home, my best friend was like, that wasn't a day off. Like, your day's off now. I would stay in the house. Whatever restaurant you want to eat at from Worthing, we will phone them and we'll get them to deliver the food. Like, you've got to stay in the house. And like, I got mobbed outside Topshop in Oxford Street. And when I say mobbed, like, it's not like, oh, I got mobbed, you know, people coming up asking. It was literally, I stepped out of Topshop and a girl had seen me in there and she sort of came out and then someone else walked past and went, oh my God, it's Amy from Love Island. And there was a group of like school kids that were obviously up there on like an exchange trip or whatever. And they were all like, oh my God, it's Amy from Love Island. And like literally it was just, and in the end, Charlie had to be like, I'm really sorry everyone, I'm going to have to take Amy away. And my dad had always said to me, like, unless you're eating your dinner, you must never say no to a picture with anyone. And I would have done that anyway, but my dad said, like, you know, these people, you wouldn't be where you were if it wasn't for these people watching Love Island. So he's like, unless you're halfway through your dinner, which is all very good in practice, but people come up and you go, I'll just finish my dinner and then I'll come and have a picture. And they go, okay, well, if you don't want to do it, it's fine. And I'm like, no, I do. I'm trying with my dinner. And they're like, oh, no, it's fine. I'm sorry I disturbed you. And I was like, no, okay, right, let's do it now then. So yeah, that doesn't
That's
really
amazing.
matter.
I think, I think though that's kind of a testament to the success of your career after Series 5 of Love Island, because even though, yes, your life has changed, and granted, you and I didn't know each other before Love Island. However, I don't feel like you've changed. I don't feel like you've become this like big-headed, celebrity, quote unquote, because like your dad, and I've met both of your parents and they're just incredible people and they've kept you grounded. And I think that is a secret to some of your success, right? Because you are approachable.
I always say to everyone when they leave Love Island, I say, if you still live at home when you go in, like, I know it's really tempting to move to London and to move to a flat in London and everything, but jobs will pay for your cars. Like, jobs will come and pick you up, especially at the beginning. Like, they will send cars to pick you up or get the train. I get the train. I got the train from like day one. That was one other thing. I get really bad car sick. And when we were going to London every day, I was like, oh, can I not just get on the train? And they were like, no, you can't get on the train. And I was like, oh, okay. So I would say to everyone, my advice is, if you do still live at home or you like live in a house with your friends, go back to that and spend time with you. I remember I was so stressed and like my mental health did take a bit of a dip when I came out, but I was really lucky that I had the therapy from ITV and I had Lou, who was my psych in the villa. I drove to Kent to see her, and there was other therapists available, obviously, but I didn't want anyone else because she knew me. So she knew everything I've been
Yeah.
through. But I remember one day I was really, really stressed, and I snapped at my best friend, and she was like, "Funny, yeah, no, we don't do that.
Stop.
We don't do that. You're
Leave
an
it to
air
the
hostess
bestie to
from
keep you in
Worthing,
place.
remember? You're an air hostess from
Yeah.
Worthing, so and
Now, when you
I'm
said
very
your
like,
I was
yeah,
just
go
going to
on,
say, when
Billy.
you said your mental health took a turn, what was that? Was that just like social anxiety? Was it, because I'm sure you have like post-show
Yeah,
depression, because we get that after Dancing on Ice too.
yeah.
100%.
Post-show blues. Remember that from my Amdram days. But I didn't get it after Panto, shockingly, after doing like 70 shows or whatever. Then I was like, let me leave. So yeah, I mean, I think it was like a perfect storm of a complete life change. No routine as such, and no set expectations. Being cabin crew was an
Mm.
amazing preparation for post Love Island life, in that I remember seeing one of my Love Island friends in like the corridors at ITV. She was like, I'm so tired, I've literally had like 6 hours sleep every night. And I'm like, what? 6
That's
hours sleep's quite a lot.
luxury.
Yeah, and like having to, even though you're knackered, put like your game face on and sort of get on with it anyway, which is a massive thing for crew. And also like meeting new people, and also passengers try and catch you out, like journalists sometimes try and catch you out. So like being
Mm.
sort of savvy to that, and always
But I
towing the
think that's
party line.
but I think that shows how smart you are, because a lot of people have experiences in life that they could bring into this and then transfer them and move forward with
Yeah,
them. But not a lot of people do, because they would see it as a completely different industry and a completely different life change. And of course, it is life changing. But
yeah,
you've actually just adapted. And I think that shows how mercurial and
yeah,
actually intelligent and emotionally smart you are, to be able to
yeah,
bring those experiences and say, but this is just like when I used to do this. Of course, it's not
yeah,
exactly the same, but the way that you react to that and the way that you approach
yeah.
that is the same. And that shows how super smart you are.
But
Mm.
interestingly, when I left, I couldn't tell anyone that I was leaving flying. And coming into, like, when you're cabin crew, you can sit in the flight deck for takeoff and landing. And I used to hate it because you can't go on your phone, because the pilots are like, get off your phone, and and I like chatting to the crew and stuff. So on my last flight, we landed back into Gatwick at like 6 a.m. So it was like raining, dark. And I said, oh, do you mind if I come and sit in the flight deck for landing? And the FO knew me really well, and he was like, but you hate sitting in the flight deck for landing. And I was like, oh yeah, I know, I just feel like it today. So I sat in the back corner, because there's three pilots. So I sat in the back corner and I was just crying when we were landing. And he was like, you're leaving, aren't you? And I was like, don't tell anyone. And he's like, what are you going to do? And I said, oh, I've got an office job. And he went, Amy Hart in an office job? I don't think so. You're born to entertain. You need to be out in the cabin entertaining the passengers. He was like, I'll see you in 6 months. I'll see you in 6 months. You'll be back in 6 months. And I was, and so then
Oh my God.
when it all got leaked, he messaged me like, office job. Yeah, I knew it was too good to be true. But so yeah, so I think, but on the other hand, with being crew, is I knew I mean, I bent the rules a lot, in that, never safety wise, but service wise. Like, I used to do the Amy Hart experience, like the Ames experience, and I had like the most
Yeah.
golden tickets out of anyone at Gatwick, because
Can we have a
uh,
little taster of the Ames experience, please?
well,
I just
it
want
was
to
just stuff like, so like I'd do a Jersey. And Jersey's half an hour flight. So in club, I'd have like, what, 20 people? And I'd be like, literally, so normal people would like get on, like, good morning, sir, good morning, sir. They'll go out with hot towels and stuff. I'd be in the cabin, like, right, everyone, welcome to Amy Hart's Jersey Drinking Challenge. So obviously it's half an hour flight. So you're going to get 2 drinks, 1 drink after takeoff. You're going to get 2 drinks on your tray, and then 1 for landing. If you can complete it, you are a Jersey legend. And then, like, I did a Jersey one day, and this guy walked up the stairs, and he was like, if I'd known it was you, I wouldn't have bought my car. My car's at Jersey Airport. If I knew it was you, because I'm not going to be a Jersey legend, am I? And I was like, no, sorry. Like, unfortunately, today you're not a Jersey legend. Like, Gary Wilmot is like a big West End actor, and
Yeah.
he got on my. One night we were really delayed on this Alicante. Like, we were going to be the second to last flight to go. And he was in Wagamama's, and I was like, oh my God, there's Gary Wilmot. And I was like looking, and I was looking at the flight board. I was like, he's got to be on our flight. He's got to be on our flight. and I didn't have any spare seats in business. So when he got on, I was like, Mr. Wilmot, can I have a word, please? And he was like, oh, God, yes. I took him behind the curtain. I was like, hi, I'm Amy. I'm a massive musical theatre fan. I haven't got any seats in business, but whatever you want on the flight, like, just ask me and you can have it. And then I ended up having one no-show. So I went into the flight deck. I was like, can I move him up, please? Like, yeah, okay. And I literally gave him, like, bags and bags of, like, well, like a bag of gin and tonics to take off. He was going to a funeral. So I was like, have this, have this. And I went to see a show that he was in, but I didn't see him afterwards. But I went out for drinks with some of the cast, and this is still when I was crew. And one of the ladies said, like, oh, who do you, Joanna Riding, actually, amazing woman, said, who do you work for? And I said, I work for British Airways. She said, oh, I'm going to start flying British Airways. Gary had to miss a couple of rehearsals because he had to go to a funeral. And he said that he got on, and this girl was like, I love musical theatre. Do you want to be upgraded? And gave him loads of gin to take off with him. And I was like, that was me. Like,
Oh my God, that's
and he was
incredible.
like,
amazing.
he came back to rehearsals and told the story. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah,
Loved that.
You're literally a living legend. You're
Yeah.
literally a living legend.
So like I said, I digress, as I always do. But I used to bend the rules slightly, the Ames experience. But I knew what I had to do. I got on. I knew I was good at my job. I had to be there for my report time. I cleared up my clear time, and you know, I got to problem solve, and I got to do nice things for people. And I like it really like sort of tested me. And everyone thinks it's just like slinging out dinners for £3 an hour, and to a point it can be at times. But I was a cabin manager, so I was literally like problem solving all the time and like being able to like, you know, to do nice things for people. So I think it was a whole life change. It was coming away from that, having no routine, trolling on social media, people writing things about you that aren't true, people, you know, and you've got that right to reply on your Instagram story. People don't believe you, and
Yeah.
people are always trying to catch you out. And I think it was just a perfect storm of all of that, and being so exhausted as well. Like there was at one point my voice was going because I was so exhausted, probably talking too much as well. And my friend came round and she went, "Are you here?" And I shouted down like, "Yeah." And she went, "Oh God, your voice sounds awful." I went, "Thanks, I hadn't realised." And she was like, "You're right." And I just burst into tears and I was crying. And I was like, "I know I'm really lucky to do what," and she's like, "I couldn't do what you do." She's like, "I wouldn't swap my life for
Yeah.
yours." She was like, again, she's like, "I watched Love Island and I always used to think, oh my God, Love Island is so lucky." And she's like, "And you are, but it's also really hard." And I think that's
I mean, I
like,
think it's interesting. Yeah, I think it's interesting what you said, particularly about social media, because since you've been on Love Island, social media has just taken on its own kind of monstrous life.
yeah,
And I think it is really hard for a lot of people to handle that constant criticism. You have legions of followers, what, 1 million followers on Instagram. I mean, you
yeah,
have an army of followers. I am one of them. Love your channel. But you know, I think sometimes, even this morning, you know, I was just looking through. I never go on Instagram. You know, I like Twitter a bit more. But
yeah,
anyway, I don't do social media very often. But even this morning, I was just looking through the comments, and somebody had put on one of mine, like, "Why don't you get your eyebrows done?" And I'm like, "Bitch, please, like, don't." But you know, like that constant criticism of every little half an inch of your face,
yeah,
every hair out of place, every word that you say, that constant micro managing of
yeah,
you, it's got to be really exhausting at the level that you're doing it.
yeah. I mean, my dad always says, "Oh, they never kick a dead dog." You know, you're it means you're relevant. And I'm like, yeah, but so when you first come out, it's mad, like it's horrible. Like it's
Yeah.
every time you do something new, and that peaks. So at the moment, I've been like, I've managed to block all the horrible people. I still get people messaging, and it's not the face. When I was younger, it's very old now. When I was younger, it was like the faceless accounts would be like, you know, "You're disgusting. You're the fat one in Love Island. 57 kilos. Never gonna get back there again."
Horrific.
But still the fat one.
Horrific.
But you're the fat one. You're so ugly. You're this or that. And now it's not faceless accounts. It's like people who are just messaging me to tell me what they think. And it was so funny.
Yeah.
People, when I was pregnant, I was like, I had all the "just you waiters." They were like, "Just you wait, it's going to be awful. Just you wait." And I was like, no, I don't accept that. I think I'm going to go in with a positive mindset, because the worst thing that's going to happen is that it's
People
going
were
to be worse
telling
than I
you
thought. Yeah. So
that
I
the
got this
pregnancy
message.
was going to be awful.
No, not pregnancy, like having a baby, like
Okay.
like being a mum.
Having
It's
how
so
awful.
hard. It's this, it's that. And I was like, I'm going to go with a positive mindset. and then the worst that can happen is it's not what I thought. If I go in with a negative mindset and it's not what I thought, then I've just been a negative person forever.
Yeah.
So someone messaged me, and I've got the message still because it came up on my Facebook memories. So I posted it on Facebook because Facebook's my favourite social media platform because it's the only place where people still authentically air their dirty laundry.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
I'm here for that. I love the
We're
book.
all here for that.
And also it's sort of my like safe space because although I've still got all people from BA and everything, it's sort of like it's my people. So, and it was like I said about how I'd literally bought 6 outfits for the baby because I didn't know what I was having. I can't wait for you to have your baby. I can't bear to watch this anymore. You are so stupid. Babies go through 6 baby grows in the first couple of hours. Da, 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 da. And she started commenting on myself the other day, like, you need to wear a bra. No, I don't. I've got bad shoulders. And bad shoulders, fake boobs, don't need to. So I...
Not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. I mean, they are a little bit more now. Breastfed, but and she might have a point, but I was like, why do you always have to be so negative? And I felt like posting the old message and being like, just to let everyone know, I never ran out of outfits for Stanley. People messaging me like, I can't wait till your baby gets to 6 months because you're going to think you've got it sussed and then it's just going to all change and you're just not going to have it. And I'm like, oh, people really dislike their children, like in my DMs. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But or dislike their situation. But yeah, I think the social media, so like I say, I've got to like a good place where I have my community. Everyone's really lovely. A couple of people are weird, but people are like, have you not got enough clothes? Like, no, not any that fit at the moment because I haven't done well with my shredding for the wedding. I tested my own thyroid the other day because I was convinced there had to be a reason the scales weren't moving. Evidently, it's just too many snacks. But I
you couldn't look. You couldn't be any more glamorous. You couldn't be any more glamorous.
I did a home thyroid kit, and I was like, "Come on!" It was like, "No, you're fine."
Oh God.
Do you think?
But yeah, but when I
as women we're just so hard on ourselves? Though?
I know, yeah.
Because and you think it's because other women are so hard on us? You look amazing. You couldn't be any more glamorous. I can't think of another person that people would want to be on their wedding. Like I would love to look like you're going to look on your wedding day. There were hundreds of thousands of people out there. No, but I'm not blowing smoke. Literally, there are people out there that are going to buy the magazines and look at the picture, and they're going to want to look like you. After you get married, they're going to want to look like that.
What I need to remember as well is when I was a size 8 and I only ever bought size 8 clothes, I still was like, oh, I can't wear that dress. I can't wear that dress because I look too fat in that. Or I've got a bit of a belly. I can't wear that. I can't wear that. And now I'm like a size 16. I'm like, should have appreciated. Should have appreciated it all. And when I got announced to the Love Island podcast, that was like obviously like the big sort of the reach on that because it was like a collaborative post between like the Love Island account, me, India, and Sam. So the reach on that was like mad. And again, it's like you have that peak, and then it's like what? And the caption they sent like the draft caption, and it said, the icon herself, Amy Hart, and I was like, that's really, really kind, but I know exactly how this is going to go in the comments. And it was like iconic,
massive eye roll, please.
Didn't she leave because she couldn't hack it? Like, how is Amy an icon? No, I'm not sure about Amy on the podcast. And like I messaged the girl that produced the podcast, she's amazing, and she said, Amy, some people say that Beyonce can't sing. Like, you got to remember that. Like, she was like, "You're never going to please it." And I think that was a big lesson. That was a big lesson I learned. And for anyone that is sort of struggling with social media, something I learned. There was a group of women when I first came out that was so awful to me online, and I used to want to like message and be like, "No, that's not true. Like, why are you saying this?" Like, and then one of my friends said to me, if you donated 10 grand to their charity of choice, they would come back with, why didn't you donate 20? And nothing you ever do is going to please them. So, like, why do you care?
Don't even bother.
Like, and that's, I'm very like that now. And I think one thing as well is I remember Colleen Nolan telling me years ago that people sent her horrible messages on Instagram and she replied to them and they say, oh, sorry, it's because I know celebrities only reply to horrible messages. So now I make a point of I don't really reply unless it's something people are calling me up saying that's really, really not true. I will reply to that. But if it's horrible, I don't reply. But if someone sends me a message saying, hi, Amy, I just wanted to say, I've followed you since Love Island and I love your journey and I'm so happy that you've met Sam and you've got Stanley. I'll always take the time to be like, that's so kind. Thank you so much for messaging. I hope you have a really lovely weekend. because people have, especially if it's not like even a reply to a story, like people have like found my profile, gone to my profile, clicked message, typed it out, like they've taken that time. So, and I've been working with a lot of brands recently and doing a lot of sort of like corporate work, talking about working with influencers, and I always say like a big part of my job is obviously I'm contracted to produce the content and to like do interviews for them and stuff, but I feel like I am, to my followers, like with P&O Cruises who I work with, I'm their holiday rep. I'm my holidays. I'm to my followers, I'm their holiday rep. I'm their channel of communication to P&O Cruises. So when they message me saying, "Oh, we're looking at this itinerary. What would you suggest itinerary wise?" I could say, if you go on the P&O website, they'll all be on there. But I don't.
Right.
I'm like, right, well, we've done Britannia, which is ports that Arvia can't get into, and we've done Arvia, which is a bigger ship. It depends. Look at the itineraries, look at the different ports. You know, do you want a bigger ship? Do you want a more classic ship? You know, I take that time, and with like Fem Health, who I'm working with now as well, that's all about like female fertility and stuff. And people message me saying like, I've got no idea where to start. Again, I could say, well, you can email Fem Health and they'll help you. But I don't. I say, well, what I did was I had an AMH test. That's a really good thing. It shows your ovarian reserve. And I feel like that correspondence is like, it's an online community. So that is like such a massive part of my job.
Well, knowledge
and
is invaluable, and when you've had that kind of experience, you know, people can't buy that. To have that access to you, and for you to actually take the time to give that feedback is really priceless to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I still get messages about.
And I think that's part of your success too. Part of your success, the longevity of your career, is the fact that we just keep going back to this. You know what I mean? Like you're genuine. You care about the people that look after you too.
Yeah.
So I think the title of your next book needs to be something like "How to Conquer the Trolls," because you've totally done it.
Yeah, I think as well, like people, like trolls are so quick to be like, Amy's done nothing after Love Island. Amy's done nothing. Like, what does she?
Oh my God, you've done so much.
How do you think I've like paid for food for the last 5 years? Like, I'm confused. Like, what do you actually think? Like, I've been living on for 5 years, like fresh air. I'm confused. Like, I've been, and my agent always says, and I'm like, we all do it. We'll never like big ourselves up, but my agent always says to me, she's like, you're a grafter. Like, if there's jobs that I want that, you know, they're like, oh, this is the budget, but I'm like, well, actually, I really want to do the job. I'll still do the job, and stuff like, you know, oh, we can't do transport, but I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just drive. Like, I like driving. I actually don't like. Last night I had to be in an Addison Lee for 20 minutes, and I was like, get me to my car.
Have you tried sitting in the front? Because I used to sometimes get that.
Yeah, I always sit like when I do like the hour and a half, and I'm like, do you mind if I sit in the front? And they're like, okay, I'll move all my bags. I got my can of ginger ale. Especially, I did the Love Island podcast last year when I was pregnant. So I was like 30. I think I started when I was 34 weeks pregnant. I did 34 to 38 weeks pregnant. Did the Love Island podcast every week? We'd come out and be like, and she didn't give birth in the booth. We're okay. And so I literally would have like 5 cans of ginger ale in my bag and just be like, please may I sit in the front, like out here, like, and they're like, oh, so you're going to London at, like, you're driving home from London at 1 a.m. on a Sunday when you're that pregnant? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you're not going to go into labour in the car, are you? And I'm like, no. But don't worry, I checked my midwife and there's like hospitals along the way.
Yeah. Oh my God, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you
think as far as... Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go.
Oh, I was just going to say, before we let you go, because we're already at 45 minutes now.
Sorry.
I want to get... No, God, no, it's fine. I'm just conscious of your time. What are your predictions for this Series 16 of Dancing on Ice?
So, I think I'm going to do Top Boy, Top Girl, because I can't call it. So I'm going to do Top Boy, Top Girl. So Top Boy, Ryan Thomas. Top Girl, Amber Davies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I like it.
Yeah.
I think, well, we were all blown away by Amber and her amazing flexibility. Do you know Amber? I mean, obviously she's a fellow Love Islander. So.
Yes, I see her a lot of like press nights and stuff. We're just both very stagey. So like, obviously she's got the talent. I've got the like fangirl. I'm very good at asking questions at the stage door.
Yeah.
She
do you
she blew
think
us away with her
which
flexibility. She was gorgeous lines, really beautiful, kind of like dancer look to her. And I think Ryan has this kind of unsuppressible enthusiasm, doesn't he? I mean, he is just go, go, go. He really, you can tell he's really having a great time out there.
Yeah, I mean, honourable mention as well, Greg Rutherford, obviously.
Ooh, yeah.
yeah.
And
Amy,
I think Greg has
have you
that
watched any
Olympic mentality.
have you watched any of his partner Vanessa James on YouTube?
No, I haven't. I'll go and do that. You know,
Oh,
I love
You
Ice
you
have
need
to.
to. She is by far one of the best professionals that's ever walked the earth or skated the earth.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, she's
Go check her
incredible,
out. Go check her out.
and some of the stuff that she did in her amateur career will blow your mind. So yeah, please do watch her. She's gorgeous.
I will do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you how you think that some of the contestants on Dance on Ice are going to cope with that kind of fan interaction, and it is actually a popularity contest as well as a skating competition. I wanted to get your unique perspective on being in a popularity contest, because it can be really tough mentally.
Yeah.
We saw
I
this week
think,
with Lou. Lou was in the skate off, and we could tell she was really sad because she knew she skated she's a good skater. She knew she
Yeah.
skated well, and to be in the skate off, you know that's a popularity vote, and that's really, really disheartening.
yeah, I mean, a lot of them obviously are used to it. So like Sweeney, love her, who I actually met at Edinburgh before I went on Love Island. Love her. Like she's so used to it. Like she's an old pro. Like she's used to it all. Like people that have been on soaps before are used to it. So I think for some of them, like obviously it is like that thing of the popularity contest, but also it's that whole new world of being shown to like millions of people every week, and what comes with that when you try to go to Tesco's to do your weekly shop.
Yeah.
It's been
Absolutely. And I
fascinating
think
hearing
it's
your journey. Thank you so much for that.
yes. Amy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
I know
you for
you're
having
busy.
me.
Good luck on your podcast. I know it's going really well. I'm a huge
Thank
fan.
you.
She was such a fun interview.
I loved it. It was amazing, and it was so incredible hearing about her life as well.
She's done so much with her career after leaving being a flight attendant to, Love Island and the supreme fame that is. I'm really impressed with how she's handled everything.
And also, it's incredible to see how she's moved on since Love Island. I mean, it was 2019 was her series. And in that short amount of time, she's met somebody, they've had a baby, they've started a family, she's planning a wedding, a 4-day event wedding, by the way. So yeah, it was great to catch up with her, and we wish her all the best. Thanks, Amy.
So thank you, Amy. Okay, now let's get to some of your questions. Very, very active on social media this week. We are absolutely loving it. So I kind of just pulled some questions out of the hat and what I think would be sort of interesting answers. I hope they're interesting answers. The first question comes in from Adrienne, who asked, who would you like most to skate with?
Well, I would say Gene Kelly, who's my absolute idol, but obviously he's no
What a
longer
great
with us.
answer.
Oh, I would love to skate with Gene Kelly. What a man. However, as he's no longer with us, I'm going to have to say Tom Holland. I know, I'm shocked by my own answer, but recently I just saw him do the lip sync battle on YouTube, actually. Well, he was giving me all of the Rihanna vibes. Did you see him do his little slut drop?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've seen it multiple times.
Oh, you have it. You have it on a loop,
It's
don't you?
saved.
I mean, he was amazing. I didn't know that boy could dance like that. So yeah, I'm going to say Tom Holland.
Gosh, I don't know who I've always said in like previous interviews, I would have always loved to have skated with my mom because she left us when I was 17 and she actually never really got to see anything of my professional career. So I'm going to stick with that, even though she's not here. But yeah, I'm going to say my mom.
I think when you watch a show like Dancing on Ice, a lot of people who are sitting at home watching it have that very same feeling that you have, that they would like to have one last dance with their very special person. And so I think you've just encapsulated all of that right there.
Thank you. Yes. All right. So this is actually a really interesting question. And out of the 16 series that we've had Dancing on Ice, us meeting you guys on the street or on tour or whatever, nobody has ever asked this. And it comes from Jojo Beebe's. Love.
That's a great name.
Love the
Jojo
name.
Beebe's.
Yeah.
I feel like Jojo Beebe should be selling me sweets. I would buy them. Chocolate bars.
Maybe she does.
Jojo Beebe's.
Jojo, if you sell sweets, please get back in touch. Jojo asks, why does Jane wear white skates when most of the other pros wear tan? First off,
Well,
great observation.
Yeah, great observation. Actually, a white boot is usually what we would associate with an amateur skater who hasn't yet turned professional and who's still competing. But now those lines have blurred a little and some of the amateurs are wearing brown boots. It's very unusual to see a professional skater wear a white boot simply because we tend to wear a brown tight or a skin-coloured legging or tight. And so the skates then kind of will elongate your leg because they're the same colour as your leg. When you wear a white boot, sometimes that can be a little tricky to disguise the leg lines. But Jane is such an icon and she's such a beauty on the ice that she doesn't need any help anyway. She's amazing. She can wear whatever boot she wanted. She could wear a sky blue purple boot and would still look incredible.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay, now I'm going to switch to my phone because...
You're so techie. Look at you being all techie and stuff.
I know how to screen grab.
Who's DMing you?
Oh, look at all of them.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's a lot, right? We love it.
Is some of that Bitcoin, be honest?
What?
Bitcoin. Are they trying to sell you Bitcoin?
No. It's actual real questions from people who actually listen to us.
What do you got? What do you got?
The next one comes in from Hannah, and she's asking, what is your favorite lift or trick to perform?
Do you think this is from Hannah Spirit?
No. No, this is from, I don't want to say her surname.
Okay, that's fine, but it's not from Hannah Spirit. Okay, just to check.
Yeah.
What is my favorite lift or trick to perform? I mean, I love a good headbanger.
Me too.
Because it's just such a showstopper, and we've done so many together. Do you remember that time when we were doing a Christmas special with Shakin' Stevens and he was performing live behind us, got his whole band going. There were skaters on the ice, there was snow coming down. I was dressed head to toe like Mrs. Santa or something.
Mrs. Santa?
I don't know, something.
Isn't it called Mrs. Claus?
You and I, yeah, something like that. And then you and I were like trying to get together at the back so that we could like skate off in front of everybody and do this huge headbanger. And we had to go left, right, left, and then get around the corner. It's so tight. There's hardly any space on the ice, and there was other skaters doing things. So we went left, right, left. But I have a little bit of a problem with my laterality. And sometimes when I say left, I mean right. And when I say right, I mean left.
What's laterality?
You know, like this is my left lateral side and this is my right laterality. And I get mixed up. So like literally I was like left, right, left, but I did right, left, right. You did left, right, left because you listened to my mouth. My body didn't listen to my mouth and we were on the wrong feet. And that's what you did. You started laughing and then I tried to switch, and when I tried to switch, you tried to switch, and we were hopping around behind like two little goats. We couldn't get in sync. And then all of a sudden we were around the corner on the wrong feet, and you just grabbed my leg and pulled me into a bounce spin and did the biggest bounce spin I've ever done in my life. And I was laughing so hard and it was horrific. I think I ripped every muscle in my stomach.
I'm glad you remembered that. I mean, literally, second by second. I don't remember yesterday. I don't remember that at all.
I was traumatized by it. Shakin' Stevens was like, "What are you doing?"
I remember skating the Shakin' Stevens. Shakin' Stevens,
Yeah.
But I don't remember that.
So what's your favorite trick?
The headbanger, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, too, being able to obviously do it with the pros, like yourself, but then to be able to teach it to a celebrity like Georgie Porter, who was the first celeb to do it off of one foot and landing on one foot as well. It was such a huge achievement because that is hard.
Not to mention how dizzy she must have been. She's not used to spinning like I am. She's not used to being hurled up and down and all the centrifugal forces and all that gravity that's pushing and pulling you. I think we get to like over one G-force, right? So, I mean, it's tough. But you know, I do that with David sometimes.
What?
The headbanger. No, I don't do it with him. He does it with me, obviously.
I'm going to move on.
Not at home.
Wow.
Like at the rink.
Whatever you guys do in your personal life is what you do in your personal life.
That's
another podcast.
Couples that skate together stay together.
There you go. All right. And lastly, because we're running out of time, AJ Claire 79 has asked, why was the flying week dropped? Okay. Now, a little clarification here. If you don't remember, back in the original series, maybe 1 through 5 or 6.
Like we're throwing it way back into time.
Way back when. In the final, they used to do flying. Now, part of the reason why they don't fly anymore was because when we went to series 6 or 7, we moved from Elstree
to
Shepperton because Harry Potter films were finishing, basically had rented out all of Elstree for 3 years straight. So we got bumped out, and they couldn't put the flying rig or the track above the rink, which is why we didn't fly. And then when they moved to Bovingdon, which was 6 years ago, again, they didn't have room for the flying track. However, they do now, but it just doesn't really equate to a final performance anymore because the celebs just skate so much better than they used to back in the day.
And it's not skating. It's an extra element. And I think it's a bit unfair, actually, because some people who are actually really good skaters were terrible flyers or would get motion sickness. And it was this added extra element that took away from the skating. So I'm glad they don't do it.
Yeah, great question, though. I miss it because I absolutely loved it. So I'm on the same page with you. But yeah, I think the show has evolved so much now that we just don't need the flying. And you see it, like Eddie flew in last week, and you'll see elements of flying throughout the series now, but yeah, you don't get to see it in the final anymore.
It's a bit gimmicky, and actually Jane and Chris fly quite a lot down there, and they're brilliant at it, so I think we should leave it to the pros.
Thank you guys so much for sending in all those questions. It was a very busy week. We love reading all of your comments and questions. Keep them coming in, and we will try and get through as many as possible each week. But before we sign off, I want to send a massive thank you to our sponsor here at Lakeside Shopping Centre.
The leading retail and leisure destination in Essex, just 35 minutes from London with free parking and over 250 stores to discover.
And I am discovering them one by one.
Same vibe, dude.
Very true. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this bonus episode of the Icebreakers podcast. We will see you for the next main episode on Monday. Produced by Be Inspired Media, the content and podcast agency.